It was pointed out yesterday that I like to bring children's books to my sermon. So not to disappoint, here's another one. Alexander and the Terrible, Horrible, No Good, Very Bad Day. Some of you might have read it a lot to children when they were younger. I know that Rabbi Stecker did. Having a daughter named Alexandra, this book was not quite loved in my house. But it has a good lesson, even though it begins with almost everything bad that can happen to an 8-year-old taking place in just one day. Alexander wakes up with bubble gum stuck to his hair. Why? Because he went to sleep chewing it. Doesn't go through how they got it out with peanut butter or anything like that. Just the bad things keep happening. At school, his best friend says, "I don't want to be your friend anymore." That hurt. He goes to the dentist who says, "Alexander, you got a cavity. You got to come back and get it filled." And then his mom says at dinner, "If you want dessert, eat up the lima beans." Yuck. Throughout the book, Alexander keeps saying, "I want to move to Australia." None of these bad things happen in Australia. At the end of the book, his mom is tucking him in after that terrible, horrible day and says, "Alexander, everybody every once in a while has terrible, horrible, no good, very bad days. Even people in Australia." His mom was quite wise. As much as she might have wanted to protect him from all of the bad things, they were going to happen anyway. We cannot protect ourselves. We cannot protect our children from having our share of horrible, no good days, from having adversity. What we do need to do is have grit, to have perseverance, and to not despair and become despondent. The high holidays come every year as an opportunity to work on coping with adversity and really looking around and acknowledging the blessing and the goodness that is there for the taking. And we know that the past 2 years have been trying. There have been a lot of horrible, no good days, but yet we can persevere. We can be inspired by people like Kate Bowler, who at the age of 35 was diagnosed with stage 4 colon cancer and had an infant named Zachary at home that she very much wanted to raise. She fortunately survives the treatment, and she writes a memoir titled "Everything Happens for a Reason, and the Other Lies I Love to Tell." After diagnosis, she wasn't sure, obviously, at the time, whether her treatment would work and really how long she had to live. Do I keep living normally? She asked herself. Do I do my research as a professor, care for Zach, spend time with my husband? Or do I make a bucket list of all the things that I ever wanted to do and literally live like there is no tomorrow? She chose normal life. She realized that that's what she loves to do, and she'll have no regrets if she were to die, having been in the library writing her book to get tenure and caring for her infant son, Zach. She writes that life is lived on an edge. We are like houses on the side of a cliff. With enough force, with enough adversity, yes, we can fall off the cliff. There are dangers in our lives out there. But as long as we are stable on that cliff, we have to live our daily lives, our workaday lives, and yes, be grateful for all the goodness and for all the blessings and all the holy experiences that we have while we are still stable on that cliff. Kate's words and wisdom that she garnered, obviously going through her treatment, remind me of Rabbi Nachman's. Kol ha'olam kulo gesher tsar me'od. The entire world, we move through the world like we're on a very narrow bridge. Perhaps it is rickety. V'ha'ikar lo lefached klal. But the essence is to not be afraid. We have to walk through life with the perseverance to knowing that there is blessing on the other side and goodness. And most of the time, we really will cross to the other sides. There will be adversity. There'll be times that the wind blows and shakes the bridge, that we wonder whether our cliff is going to be stable. We cannot control it. I don't even believe that they come from God. God is there really in how we respond. And even our prayers talk about that. God, there, give us the strength. Give us the strength to persevere. We can and should change our thinking when we feel that we're about to get despondent and focus on life's joys and blessings. We all know the saying that life is like a glass half full. But maybe instead of saying half full or half empty, why don't we just cut the empty part of the glass, leaving ourselves with a full, if not even an overflowing glass? Maybe our cups overfloweth. The Unatana Tokef prayer that we are about to recite can really help us in reframing and making our glasses full. Yes, it describes that our life is in the balance like the house on the cliff, poignantly describing a litany of possible disasters that befall human beings, by the way, because of the news now being worldwide on a daily basis. Fire, flood, violence, and hunger. Just open up a news app and you'll find someone suffering from that right now. Life can throw nasty curveballs at us. The answer, though, is, to keep with the baseball metaphor, can we step out of the way, or can we even learn to turn that nasty curveball into a base hit? The Unatana Toka prayer continues to go on and say, despite all of the curveballs, all of the adversity, teshuvah utefillah utzedakah mavirin et roa hagazera. Teshuvah, finding our path. Tefillah, connecting to our soul through prayer. And tzedakah, acts of kindness, dull the harshness, are able to allow us to continue to survive and to find blessing and goodness in our lives. Let's focus on teshuvah. Teshuvah means to return. Yes, we call it repentance, but I really want to think about it as making sure that our outer actions and our inner thoughts and desires are in sync with one another. We've been reading a lot these past 2 years of people who have changed their priorities. They might have done drastic things like quit their jobs, their high-pressure jobs, and started to do things that they say bring them joy, even if a little less money. They're sewing, they're baking, they're farming. Our changes don't have to be that drastic. But what we should be doing is asking ourselves, what does our soul need? What actions can we do that should we, unfortunately, God forbid, pass away soon, we will not be regretting? What is our priority? What is our own bucket list? Not concerning what other people think. And we should try to add more of what we love in our life. So how do we figure out what's in our souls. Is there a way to commune with the inside? The Jewish answer is yes. Tefillah. Lehit palel is a reflexive verb, meaning to really look on the inside. We can do it through prayer. We can do it through meditation, through journaling, through taking walks. Anything that kind of calms the noise on the outside and allows us to listen to the inner voice. That is tefillah. We read in the Haftarah yesterday what the rabbis wanted us to show us is an example of true heartfelt prayer. Hannah. Hannah is despondent. She feels that her value comes only from having a child, even though her husband and those around her say, no, we love you for who you are. She needs to find that message in her soul. So she goes to the temple, the only synagogue at the time, and starts to pray. And she just pours out her soul. So much that the priest thinks he's drunk. But she says, no, I'm just very despondent, and I needed to pour out my soul. He gets it. He quickly says, oh no, I guess you're not drunk. Go in peace, and may your prayers be answered. Yes, in the story, her prayer is actually answered, and she's given a child. But the rabbis didn't want us to focus on that. The rabbis wanted to focus on that every year there are going to be Hannahs. There are going to be people who are despondent, people who are cowering from life and can't find the blessing. And that's where loving kindness comes in, where we have an obligation to show ourselves and to show others that they matter. A story. Marcia works in a coffee shop as a barista. It's a busy morning, and the next person online is a petite woman with her shoulders hunched. She's really kind of literally almost in a cocoon, even though Marcia can see her. She says, next order, please, looking at the woman. But behind her is a big burly man, clearly in a rush, doesn't see the woman, and says, I'll have a latte, please. Marcia politely but firmly says to this tall man, I'm sorry, sir, you're going to have to wait your turn. I believe it is this lady's turn. Can I take your order? The lady gives her order, cappuccino, whatever you want it to be. And Marcia says, what's your name? Sophia. Okay, Sophia, go wait over there, and I'll have your coffee ready in a moment. When Sophia picks up her coffee, there is a note on it. Dear Sophia, stand up tall. Be proud of who you are, and then you'll be taller than even the rude man behind you. Love, Marcia. Sophia smiled, took that cup of coffee, and really her day and her week and her life brightened up because Marcia noted who she is and gave her the confidence. There are so much studies out there now about pro-social behavior, being able to do acts of kindness, helping both the giver and the receiver. By Marcia giving her kindness, actually her own stress is calmed down. Instead of yelling at the man or whatever, she's able to focus on the goodness that there is. And obviously for the Sophias of the world, being receivers of acts of kindness, acts of love, boosts their self-esteem. The rabbis teach us that during these 10 days of Teshuvah, we should go out and find acts of tzedakah, acts of loving kindness. Is it hypocritical to be more pious during these days of judgment? I don't think so. I think what the rabbis wanted us to do is they wanted us to open our eyes and for at least 10 days feel how good it is to give and the hope that the healthy habit will kick in. Well, you need to do more than 10 days of healthy habits. They say 28 days. of healthy habits are best. So maybe give $1 every day. Find what you can. Random acts of kindness. Pick up some litter. Anything that makes you connect to the world and to others. Teshuvah, finding our path. Tefillah, prayer and other acts of getting into our soul. Tzedakah and kindness. Not just diminish the harshness of life, but really help us to find the joy and blessing in our lives, and not just even to increase it. Psalm 90 and Psalm 23 and really many other psalms, which are recited in our prayer book, often speaks to these ideas. Psalm 90 says we're lucky to live 70, 80 years, and that some of those days are going to be affliction. And we say, God, give me the days of joy to match days of our affliction. And we all could remember that Psalm 23 speaks about our overflowing glasses. You prepare a banquet for me in the presence of my foes. You anoint my head with oil, my cup overflows. Surely goodness and kindness shall be my portion all the days of my life. And here we are praying that 5783 be a year of maximum joy and fulfillment, full glasses, and good health. And let us all say, Amen.